Welcome to Nightmare Echoes. Listen, scream, and embrace your horror obsession. In this episode, Jesse and I cover The Watchers. What was the importance of the reality TV show? Does this movie want us to like our main character? And would you follow someone into a strange building if they told you that you only had a few seconds to live? If you'd like to follow us on any of our social medias, the links are in the description. Next week on the podcast is the Purge election year. But until then, a movie that might have you looking at birds differently, The Watchers. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Nightmare Echoes. I'm your host, Elazar. I'm joined again by Jesse. Jesse, how's it going?
Pretty good. Top of the morning to you.
Yeah, cool.
Because we're doing a movie in Ireland. So.
Right. So, today we're covering The Watchers 2024, not to be confused with every other movie out there called The Watchers. And there's one coming out in 2025.
There's actually a law that every year has to have a movie called The Watchers.
Just like how the Daleks have to show up in Doctor Who once a season.
That's right.
Directed by Ashana Night Shyamalan.
It wasn't M. Night Shyamalan?
No, it wasn't. He produced it.
Oh, okay. So that's why
so
his name
he's
is
there.
Really big.
Yeah, he's there in the special features. And it was based on a novel by A.M. Shine, which I did read. It stars Dakota Fanning as Mina, which I love from War of the Worlds, Man on Fire, and The Twilight Saga.
Yeah, she's a fantastic actress.
Yeah. It had a budget of $30 million and only made $33 million. So
yeah, this one, I might somewhat agree with the poor performance in the box office, but we'll get to that.
It starts with a voiceover that's saying there was a forest in the west of Ireland that does not appear on any map. They say it draws in lost souls like moths to a flame. We see a man in a red jacket running through the forest. No one can say exactly what's inside, for those that wander never come back out. We see a man who's checking his watch. He's got a stopwatch on, and he passes a marker that's labeled Point of No Return 108. The marker looks like a scarecrow made of sticks with a bird skull for the head.
Good prop, I would say.
Yeah, I like it, yeah. He is running, sounds out of breath, and says to himself, "I'm going to get help, honey." We see that it's getting darker, and he notes that the sun has moved, and he has 22 minutes left. He tells himself to follow the light, but then seems to get lost. It gets darker and foggier than before. He sees in the distance and walks to the same marker we saw him run past, so he spent that whole time going in a circle. Now it's completely night. It's only lit by the moon alone, and you could tell that this guy is really scared. He climbs up a tree, but a bird flies out, frightening him, and he falls to the ground with a scream. He's injured and makes a lot of noise crawling over to another tree. We hear some creature sounds, but we don't see him. He says that's impossible, and he's dragged away and pulled underground screaming no.
And you spend an awful lot of the movie wondering what it was he saw when he was obviously already terrified of something.
Yep.
What it was he saw that made him say that's impossible, considering everything that had just happened.
Right. Then we get the title card, The Watchers. In a pet shop, the news is talking about all the world's trees have been cut down, while we look to many animals in glass homes, such as snakes and turtles. Watching the TV and vaping is our main character named Mina, played by Dakota Fanning. Her boss is showing a lady around different aquariums for critters, while Mina draws a picture of the woman. Later, she's outside vaping, and the boss comes to tell her the animals don't like it when she smokes, but asks her to come back inside, and he wants her to meet somebody.
I feel like they're not making her very likable.
That's kind of what they're going for this whole movie. She talks about how she doesn't like herself. She tells the bird right here in a minute, "You won't like me if you knew me."
Right. That's what I felt like they were trying to make us not like her too, which is a strange thing to do
for
the protagonist of a movie, I think.
Yeah. I think the one I liked the most was Kira.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she meets this bird. It's a golden conure. He calls it a beautiful breed of bird. Mina asks if he can talk, and the man doesn't think so. He says there's a zoo in Belfast that wants him within a week, and it's about a day's journey. So he asks if she wouldn't mind delivering it to him, and he mentions that he knows it's a bad time, but she said she told him she is fine. Then he says it would be nice for her to get out and see the countryside of Ireland, and she agrees. She takes the bird home to her apartment, which is 2B. While sitting and looking at the bird, she tells him that her mom died 15 years ago today. So now we know what the boss was referring to.
Yeah.
She then says that she's going out tonight and tells the bird, "Try not to die." She walks away and repeats the words, And then she says, I thought you couldn't talk, you little shit. Then I'm like, and then you're going to say little shit in front of a bird that will repeat you? That's a bad idea.
Yeah, terrible idea.
Then we see her getting ready for the night. After showering, she puts her hair up and then puts a black wig over it, which I have to say looked really convincing. Mm-hmm. Now at the bar, she meets a man named Colin, and she lies about herself, saying that she is Caroline and she's a ballet dancer. The next morning, she stops by theatrical costumes to turn in the wig or maybe the dress, not sure. Then looks at the bird, who she guesses is judging her because she tells the bird not to look at her like that, and that is something she does sometimes, playing dress up, and the bird would not like her if he really knew her. Then she starts to take this one-day trip to Belfast. She is driving a blue 1999 Suzuki Jimmy. On the road, she asks the bird for his story and who he's running from. She stops for gas to listen to a voice message from her sister Lucy. She mentions that Mina skipped her mom's memorial, and we find out that she hasn't spoken to her sister in some time, and that her sister has kids that have grown up in Mina's absence. Her sister also advises her to just let it go because it's been 15 years, and ends by asking her to call her back. Mina puts on her seatbelt and drives away, and the camera pans over to a sign with no less than 27 missing person pamphlets, many with multiple people on them in layers so that we know it's been going on for some time, because the back ones look all faded.
Right.
Her driving assistant, like the phone, lets her know to proceed on the road for 106 kilometers to reach her destination. And I wonder if the app has statistics on people that have never made it through this trip.
Yeah, I was wondering a lot on this. How come this thing hasn't been fenced off yet, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's got these markers that say pointed no return, right? We find out later, I think, who made those. But even at this point, I'm thinking, whoever made those, why did they just make a fence?
Yeah.
Like,
Mina listens to her sister's voicemail on repeat on the trip and seems to be able to recite it from memory.
That's really strange.
It was. I wondered if, was this an old message? But
I wondered that too.
It didn't make any sense. As we increase speed, we see a tear build up in her eye. Her drive is becoming more foresty, and she seems to no longer be on a road, driving on a path that seems to be made through cars driving over grass. So, yeah, I'm not sure how she ended up there. Now she's listening to music, and the car starts giving her trouble. We see the map on the phone start to lose signal and start to glitch. The radio goes crazy, changing stations, and a bunch of runes appear on the display.
In general, whenever runes start appearing on your radio, just a public service announcement here, that probably means you should turn around immediately.
Yeah, well, the car's already off now.
Yeah.
Yeah, bad idea. So she tries to start it again, but it won't even click or attempt to turn over. She gets the bird out and the bird says, try not to die, which I thought was so great. She walks to a sign that says point of no return 12 before going back to the car to check if the engine, which is steaming. She gets the bird, starts walking, and starts calling out for help. As she walks away from the car, this fog seems to set in. When it gets dark really fast, she tells the bird, let's just go back to the car. But when she turns around, she can't find it.
And the whole thing is it's all these tropes, right? The tall trees with the short, barren branches and it's like the ultimate. I wonder if there's a forest really like that somewhere, but it does seem like it's.
They filmed it somewhere.
Right. Well, yeah. I guess you're right. Well, I mean, I don't assume anymore these days since
That's
you
true.
can CGI anything, but.
Well, I know we'll get to it, but they built two coops. They built a coop on a soundstage, and they built a coop in a real forest.
I see.
But yeah, she sits on the ground, and she starts to hear some guttural screeching. She turns around to see someone running, and she runs and calls after them, saying that she needs help. She hears a big metal door slam and looks to see a building that doesn't fit in this environment. Then an older woman opens the door and tells her if she cares about her life, she's going to have to run, and then starts counting down from 5. And at first I was like, well, do I trust her?
Right.
Oh, but I have 5 seconds. I guess I have to.
Yeah, yeah.
She runs in and gets in. The woman puts in place 4 lock bars and shuts the door. Now that she's inside this orange-lit room, the woman says that her name is Madeline, and the girl's name is Kira, and the boy is Daniel. They say that they're all lost like her. They ask her who she is, and right after she tells them that she is Mina, Madeline tells her that they don't have much time because it isn't wise to keep them waiting. Madeline tells Kira to stand by Mina to keep her calm. Kira helps Mina to her feet and stands up in front of this big mirror.
Which, by the way, is completely flawless to the point that you can't even see it.
Yeah.
There's not a scratch, not a particle of dust.
Which is crazy because they made it from 4 mirrors. They couldn't get a mirror big enough. And so they put 4 mirrors. So the fact that they had to digitally get those lines in the middle out.
Huh.
Yeah, it's a good mirror.
It's weird because when we see it later from the outside, right? The outside, it definitely has scratches on it.
Yep.
You know? So.
Yeah. So Daniel seems excited, and Mina asks if someone is coming. Madeline tells her that they call them the Watchers. And as soon as she says it, we can hear them faintly. The group explained to her that the Watchers cannot come in, but they just want to watch them from sundown to sun up. Then, with a little bit of encouragement, they convince Mina to take a step forward, and Mina can hear the Watchers, but she doesn't know what they're doing. Madeline tells them that they are clapping for her. We get this look, welcome to the show kind of thing.
Strange, yeah.
The camera zooms out, and we see the window looking inside the building to the 4 that are lost. Later, Mina is sitting with the bird who she's named Darwin and remembering her mother, but we only see that for a moment before the door is opening in the morning. As it does, the mirror in front of them turns into a window and lets Mina see out into the forest. Mina tells Darwin that they're leaving and heads off in a rush. When Kira asks, she says she's going home. Daniel tells her that she won't make it, but Mina says that she can't just stay there and wishes them good luck. As she is verbally saying her plan to get home, the bird says, "Try not to die."
Of course.
Which I think is so clever. On the way home, she hears her name whispered, and when she looks at a woman that is pretty far away, which looks like her mother, a voice whispers, "Why would you do that?" So she starts running. She follows the direction of the sun and makes it to a clearing, which looks over forest as far as the eye can see in all directions. She sits there and is scared when Madeline puts her hand on her shoulder and tells Mina that they have all tried to get out and failed. Madeline shows her around, telling her that she can learn to master this place, and she shows her the landmark number 44. We find out that they're all across the forest in nearly a perfect circle, and they're all about a half day's journey from the coop. And she's always to stay within the border, and she has a hope to return by nightfall. Mina asks who built them, and Madeline tells her that Daniel and Kira call him the Professor. Then Madeline tells Mina that the sun is passing its peak, so they need to head back. In the coop, Daniel is starting to act like an MC by getting the crowd ready for the amazing show that's about to come. Will Mina eat her dinner? Will she snore or sleep? And how many times will she get up to pee in the bucket?
It's very, very weird.
He's very strange.
Yeah.
He's been there for like 9 months, so he's bored out of his mind.
Yeah, I did notice there was kind of around this point I started to notice, if this movie has any themes, it seems like there might be kind of a theme of like animals.
Birds, definitely.
Well, that's true, because you've got birds, you've got the coop, and I noticed that Mina's name, Mina backwards, is like almost animal, right?
Sure,
so
yeah.
I didn't know if that was intentional or
That's
not.
kind of cool. I didn't mention it, but when she first gets into the forest, she has to duck from all these birds that are flying out as it's getting dark.
Yeah, so that's more specifically birds. Maybe I'm wrong about, maybe that name backwards is just a coincidence.
Yeah. No. I think you're right. I think animals are a big part of it. I think birds specifically are another big part of it. So Mina doesn't actually know what she's supposed to do, and Madeline tells her to just be herself. Kira puts on some music to dance, saying the Watchers like it. We see that they have a TV to watch, and the DVD set that they are given is for season 3 of a generic reality TV show called Layer of Love, which was made for this movie.
Yeah, well, clearly.
12 strangers trapped in a house. Will they find love? There is a 9.5-minute extra footage on the Blu-ray of this show. And the first time I was watching the extra features, I was so confused why there was a reality TV show clip in the middle, because I had forgotten that it was in the movie. But like, you're going through the special features, how the Watchers was made, how the creatures were made, and then 9 minutes of this generic TV show called Layer of Love. I was like, what? I forgot that it was in the show. But Mina's holding the DVD set, and it lists all the special features, and printed on the back is a sticker that says property of Professor RKWL015. Though it's hard to see, I zoomed in, and it looks like the DVD set includes 300 hours and 13 minutes of footage, which sounds like the real nightmare of this movie.
Yeah, really.
Oh my gosh. The next day, Madeline tells Mina that there are 10 hours and 2 minutes of sunlight and says, "May we meet before dark." Mina is walking with Kira, who goes around picking plants that she can use for a paste for pain relief. She says that Daniel always gets headaches. Then she talks about how John always thought Daniel fancied her, and we find out that John is her husband who left 6 days ago, and Kiera thought that Mina might have been sent by him. Kiera still believes that he will come back and talks about how Mina will get to meet him.
The audience have met him. Because...
Right. Yeah, he was the guy in the beginning. Right, yeah. We do see her identify another plant that helps with inflammation. Mina wants to know what the Watchers want from them, but Kiera says that they don't know, but they have theories. One of them is they want to just watch what would drive a person mad. And I'll tell you what, 300 hours of Layer of Love would drive me insane.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Then Kiera shows her these massive holes in the ground that are all over the forest, which they call burrows. They're all connected underground like a system of tunnels, and it's where the Watchers go during the daytime. Mina asks Kiera how long she's been there, and she says that John and her were the last to arrive before Mina came, and so she had to guess it's been 5 months. But she seems really happy when she says it, which is really weird.
Yeah, throughout this movie, the reactions and emotions of people seem bizarre and out of place to me.
Right. They're sitting outside the coop. Mina is drawing the 3 other people in her notebook. Madeline is cooking for them and uses the time to explain the rules to Mina. As she starts to say them, the other 2 say them with her in exact unison.
Which is very strange.
Exactly. Do not turn your back to the mirror. Do not open the door after dark. Do not go near the burrows. Always stay in the light.
I don't know why they're all repeating them in unison and like they're zombies. They never really explained why everyone's so strange.
They are very strange. You're not wrong. Madeline says that they're in their territory and the Watchers allow them to live because they follow their rules. And I'm like, yeah, but how did you get those rules?
Yeah.
And how do you know any of this?
Yeah, I don't get it.
Night at the coop and Layer of Love is on. We see a shot from outside, and the way Mina's facing, to me, looks like she's facing away from the glass.
Yeah,
but
I thought so too.
But oh well. Madeline and Daniel are getting some sleep, and the camera pans around 360. We hear the Watchers, but we don't see any of them. When the camera finishes spinning, we see that Mina is standing up and is by the glass, which does have scratches on it on the outside. She gets right up to the mirror, and I feel like the way it was shot really well, it captures the really beautiful environment. Mina goes right up to the glass, taps on it a few times before she puts her ear up to it. She seems to get scared, runs back to the couch, pulls her blanket, and when she turns, she really does turn her back to the glass. That's when the Watchers start tapping back and start to screech like crazy. So everybody walks up. Mina immediately stands up facing the glass, and Madeline is there to hold her facing the glass, instructing her to hold still. And the knocking grows louder. We cut to daytime where Daniel is telling Mina that ever since John left, he has been hunting on his own. He sees that he had a trap set. He gets a bird out and he snaps the bird's neck. As they walk, Daniel tells Mina that Madeline used to teach at a university and that's why she thinks she knows everything. He adds that while she is intent, she has been here for a lot longer than any of them. Right then, Mina sees a little girl running in the distance and then pans to a little girl standing by a burrow. Mina asks Daniel how long he's been there, and he says 8 months and 3 days. She asks if in all that time he's never seen a Watcher, and he says no one ever sees a Watcher and survives. She asks if Madeline told him that. He asks if she doesn't believe Madeline, and Mina says no, adding that she doesn't think he believes her either.
Weird, I didn't see any sign of that prior to this, that anyone doesn't believe her. Or any idea why anyone wouldn't. There was really any... Yeah, very strange.
Then Mina goes to that burrow where the little girl was standing. While Daniel complains that it's against the rules, she tells him that he can go back, telling Madeline that he lost her in the woods, but asks him, don't you want to know what they are? Then we cut to her being lowered.
I do not understand. I can't imagine anyone going down in that hole.
Yeah.
Anyone, no matter how brave. And I especially can't imagine that argument that she made convincing someone
to lower her.
To do that. Like the argument she made was just, don't you want to know what they look like?
Right.
No. Why would you? Why would anyone? It made no sense. This is where I started to get really frustrated with, like, these characters are not human. They don't act human. Nothing they do or say makes any sense. And I was starting to get pretty annoyed with them around this point.
And I want to say, spoiler for Paranormal Activity 7, Next of Kin, because this scene reminds me of a very similar thing where a character is being lowered where she knows evil resides. They use a rope to wrap around a tree to help slow her descent. She lights her lighter and can see many items that have been brought back from past people. She finds a newspaper from April 1992, a camcorder, a stuffed bunny, and gets scared as a bug runs over the bunny. And then she finds a bicycle. We cut to Daniel pulling the bicycle to the surface. While she waits, she hears a watcher. She screams for him, and she sees a hand come out, but the hand has 6 fingers, and then it starts to burn as it gets into the light. She screams again, and Daniel lowers the rope. Now on the surface, we see that they've gotten the bicycle, a flashlight, the bunny, as well as a few other items. They lie to Madeline about where they found them. Mina says that Madeline had said that there was no way to make it out of there on foot, but now they have a bike, so that changes everything. Daniel asks them to all come inside, but Madeline grabs Mina, asking her what she saw that she was so scared of, but Mina denies it. Inside the coop, Daniel talks about how electronics don't work out in the forest, but somehow they work in the coop, and he gives credit to the professor. He is able to hook up the camcorder to the TV, and they call it surveillance. He gets excited to put the camcorder inside, and Mina finishes the sentence saying that they will be able to see the watchers. Man, I wish the line was, "Watch the watchers," because then it could have been a reference to Star Trek The Next Generation. Who watches the watchers?
Well, that's not, I mean, that's a reference to something else. I mean,
Name it, Jesse.
I don't remember.
That night, they have music on and the TV, which is facing inside towards them in the table, showing the forest. Daniel doesn't understand why they haven't come, and Madeline tells them just to act normal, but none of them are acting normal. They're sitting at the table looking terrified. Then Kiera hears the door handle, and they could see on the TV a pair of legs. Daniel says there's someone out there, but Madeline says it's impossible because no one can survive after midnight. Then she turns to Mina, saying that she knows she has been lying about where she found the bike and needs her to be honest with her and ask her if she broke the rules. Kiera gets up, believing it's John, and when she asks, John's voice answers back. Kiera wants to open the door, but Madeline throws her body in front of it, stopping her. Madeline says that they can't open the door until after sunrise because that is the rule. Kiera doesn't care about the rule since her husband's outside. Madeline says it's all a trick, and Daniel says even if it isn't John, clearly someone's outside and they should open the door. Madeline gets Mina to finally say that she went down into a burrow, and Daniel jumps in to say that he helped her.
At some point in here, she charges away from the door that she's been blocking Kira from opening, which makes no sense because Kira would open it.
Madeline says that Mina knew that Daniel would help and therefore used him. Mina says, "You don't know me," and Madeline says that Mina is angry and selfish. Kiera says that she's going to open the door, and Madeline tells her to ask John something that only John would know. So she asks him what book she's reading, and he says he doesn't know. She tries to give him hints to remember, but he still doesn't know. Madeline points out that the watchers come every night. Why would tonight be an exception? And Madeline tells John that there's a camera at his feet, and if he just lifts it to show his face, the group will now see him, and him alone. So John ducks down, and we see his face on the camera, but then he is pulled away and dragged away. He says, "Help me," as they yank him away.
All the dialogue in these scenes is just very stilted, I felt. It seemed very unnatural. They all say such odd things to each other at such weird times and in such strange ways, and I didn't know what to make of it.
They continue to watch the TV when we see a creature from far away, but the camera cracks. The cord pulls tight, and Madeline tells them to get into their places. The watchers get really loud and start to attack the glass. Madeline tells them if the glass breaks, it's all over for them. She tells them to get behind her and stands in front of them with her arms protecting them. A massive crack forms in the glass, and then they stop attacking.
Why, I wonder?
I don't
Never really
know.
explained it.
No. The next day, Madeline throws the bicycle down a burrow. But isn't that breaking rule number 3? She got near a burrow.
Yeah.
So is breaking one rule fix breaking another rule's problems?
Who knows?
She turns to the group and tells them they'll have to find another way. But I'm like, the bicycle still could have gotten them out of there faster.
Yeah.
It wasn't the camcorder, it was the bicycle.
Right.
We cut to underground where the watchers are running around all the stuff that they just dropped, but they can't touch it because it's surrounded by a beam of light. Now we're back to Mina's memory with her mom, and this time the memory goes further. And it's Mina, her mom, and her sister all on a drive. Mina rolls down the window, and the mom asks her not to do it because it's going to mess up her hair. And I could totally relate to this. I try to explain it to my kids. Like, I have to have my hair look good for work, and I have to work there with this hair for 8 hours. If you roll down the window for 5 minutes to enjoy the wind in your face and it ruins my hair, this ruins my day.
Yeah.
Which I know it seems petty, but I have to work.
Yeah.
The daughter starts mocking her mom. Everything she says, she just mocks it and says it right back, which I was like, man, she's being a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Then when Mina lowers the window again, the mom goes to close it. Mina puts her hands in there like she's going to try to hold it down, and we hear a crunch as her fingers get caught in the window. The mom freaks out, looking back at her possibly hurt child, and at that moment their car hits another car and flips to its side. Now Mina's marking trees with white lines as well as collecting specific flowers. She then runs into Madeline, who is getting after Daniel, saying that he's become clumsy and weak, and says if he doesn't find any food, they're all going to starve. Daniel looks up to see Mina watching him, and I think that embarrasses him. In the coop, Mina tells Kira what she witnessed, but Kira seems catatonic, sitting in the chair just looking at the woods. On the floor, Mina seems to have drawn a map of the area of the forest that she's explored. We get more footage of Layer of Love, where the contestants send a couple home. Mina's running to the woods trying to find Kiera because they don't have much time until sundown. She finds her near a burrow, saying that if she leaves, she needs to be with John. And that was John the other night, and even though he was a few centimeters from her, now she'll never have him again. She's ready to jump. Mina doesn't convince her not to jump, but what does is they hear Daniel screaming or Madeline screaming, one of the two. They run over to find that Madeline has been tied up by Daniel. He looks at them and says, "Our rules now." Kiara chases after Daniel, and Mina stops to untie Madeline. Why? Because she didn't trust her. I don't know why she untied her.
I don't understand why he tied her up. I mean, his explanation didn't make any sense to me.
He's tired of following her rules.
What rules is he tired of following? Like, there hasn't been, like, what?
I don't know. We have one scene of her belittling him, so we're supposed to get the impression that she does that all the time.
I guess. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me.
When Mina and Madeline reach the coop, they've been locked out. They call for Daniel, but he won't let them in, saying that Mina should have left Madeline out there. Mina and Madeline run to a tree to hide, while the other two stand in the mirror to display themselves. When the first watcher arrives, it is directly over them in the tree, and then it runs to the coop but doesn't notice them. And while it's dark, Madeline and Mina get a good view of a few of these abnormally tall creatures. Then many more join to observe the coop. Daniel tells Kiera not to move and it'll be okay.
Let's just call them what they are. They're all Slender Man.
Yeah, right. Right as the creatures start to shriek, Daniel screams that they're not here, and the watchers all take off to look for Mina and Madeline. They take this opportunity to go bang on the door again to get let back in. Mina tells Daniel that she has a sister and that her mom died when she was really young and it was her fault. She admits that she's never told anyone this before, saying that the guilt that he will feel if he lets them die, he'll have to live with for the rest of their life. They're let in. Madeline instantly starts to threaten Daniel, which is not going to make him not try to kill you later. Then Madeline orders them to get to the window and claims that she never lied to them, not really, adding that there are some truths that she hoped to protect them from. She then goes on to tell of a time that she was trapped outside and came across someone that looked exactly like her. She then goes on to tell the group that the Watchers are fairies and that their group are their playthings, and that's why they're never going to be able to leave. More knocks come from the door. The Watchers are repeating lines that the group has spoken throughout the whole movie in their own voices. They all work to move the table to block the door, and that's when Kiera notices that the rug is turned up, revealing a trap door, which blew my mind. I was like, how many months have you been here?
Yeah.
And no one ever rearranged the furniture?
That's the same thing I was thinking, too. Yeah,
It seemed ridiculous. As they try to open it, a Watcher gets upset and starts trying to break the glass. Under the first layer, they find a hatch. They all want to go in, though Madeline thinks they should wait. Wait for what? She's crazy. Mina is ready to go first and takes Darn with her. They follow Madeline, and she closes the door as the glass shatters. What they find down there is a nice-sized bunker with multiple rooms and enough food for years. Kiara notices that it looks like someone's studying the Watchers, and Mina finds a vintage Macintosh LC.
And once again, another missed opportunity to say that someone is watching the Watchers.
Yes, exactly. They then try to connect to the internet, but they don't have a connection. What they do have is a series of video journals from Professor Rory Kilmartin. They start with day 001, which is September 24th, 2009. He calls this impenetrable fortress in the middle of the forest his wonderland. He details how the creatures are fascinated with him. In another video, he speaks about how they're trying to become him, and while they started with big mistakes, they're getting closer to perfect copies. In another video, he talks about how he had to use manual labor since electronics don't work here, so he used men from nearby villages, 13 a day as a rule, men with no money or no families. And at the end of the day, he would encourage them to eat their dinner outside, and then he would get down in the bunker. So each day he had 13 men killed to build this place in the name of science, which is crazy.
I don't know. I don't know what to make of this.
The next video is about when one appeared as a red-headed child, and he remarks how the creature was different from the others. He theorizes that if he could harness this power, then maybe he could even cheat death. They watch a video on how he captured one and has it in a bunker with him, although behind a cage. Kiara turns off the video, tired of watching. Mina scrolls down to the final day, which is day 300, and the professor is very unhappy with what he has become. He plans to kill the creature and himself. He talks about a boat that he left, which anyone who's watching this can escape through, which is on the river past marker 134, which you can get to by following the birds. He asks those who make it out to go to his office at the university and destroy his work so no one can follow him. Then we have a scene where he goes up and he planned to shoot the creature and then himself. And we hear 2 shots, but we can't see it. Kiara gets excited. They finally have new music and says she wants to dance. Daniel dances with her.
This is so strange. The videos they just watched are like so dark. And the next scene, they're like, let's dance and smile. Ha 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 ha. Right? It's like, what is going on? That's not the way humans act. I'm sorry. It's not.
And then Daniel tells Kiara about his past where his dad was drunk and used to beat him. Kiara says that when they make it out of there, he can stay with her, and he cries on her shoulder.
Yeah, like why is he just randomly trauma dumping? This doesn't fit either. Like nothing.
They've been there for months and months. You think you would have said it already.
Yeah, and this is a weird time to do that. I don't understand. I don't get it.
The next day, we see from above as Mina opens the hatch to find the glass is destroyed. The inside is trash. The couch and table and everything else is missing. Madeline asks if they're ready to go, and they start to go. And I'm here wondering, you've been surviving on the meat of like a bird or 2 each day. Mm-hmm. You found years worth of food. Would you not build up strength for a week, like down there in the bunker before you made this journey?
You would think.
Yeah. We watch as they keep good pace, and Madeline leads the way. They pass all the trees which Mina had marked and make it to marker 134, which is the one on the poster of the Blu-ray, while the theatrical release poster was of the Coop at Night. Then Kilmartin told them to follow the birds, so Mina lets Darwin out and they follow where it flies. Daniel's the first to notice something strange, which turns out to be a big stone carving on the ground with 3 creatures drawn on it. Madeline tells how they used to cohabitate the earth with humans, but their ability to shapeshift scared the humans, and that's why the creatures were imprisoned here.
How?
Yeah, no idea. Magic? Random human magic?
Okay, whatever. They talk about how these fairies were all powerful and gods, and they were gods among men, and then the humans conquered them. What? Wait, how? That's not consistent with what you just said. Like, what are you talking about?
So then she talks about how they've crawled their way back up for centuries, but they can never leave this forest. She tells them that they don't have time to just stand around and encourages them to keep moving, but she was the one that stopped them to tell the story.
Yeah.
It starts to rain and starts to get dark really quickly. They pick up the pace as all the birds past the forest and flee, causing them to duck. They finally make it to the water, and Daniel and Kiara get really excited. Mina sees the boat, and they run. Daniel hears his name being called out by John, so he goes back to the forest to try to help John, trying to lift him on his feet. Kiara cries to Daniel, telling him that it's not John, but he can't hear her. They watch as the creature kills John, but Madeline tells them to get in the boat, and they start to row away as we see 20 John creatures come out, but they cannot leave the forest. The next morning, Amina wakes up and sees that they're next to a bridge. They see a bus come by, and we see that Darwin is still with them. They stand in the middle of the bridge and wait for the next bus to stop by. The driver does stop and asks if they are okay, and they ask him where it's going. The bus is going to Galway, and they ask him if he will take them there. Once on the bus, Mina asks an older man if he could turn up his music, and she relaxes because she feels safe on the bus. Mina tells the group that she will go to the university tomorrow to do what Kilmartin asked, and the rest of the group says okay. As they drive off, we get one last look of the massive forest. Mina has finally made it back home, and we see that she does have a collection of wigs. She showers just like at the start of the movie, and we see all the dirt that had built up go off of her body. She stands in front of the mirror, and we're back to the memory of her mother and the crash. She seems to be the only one not hurt. She walks up to her twin sister Lucy, who has cuts all over her face and who is cuddling her mom. Mina's asking what happened and what's wrong with Mom, and Lucy asks her, why did you do that? Now, the next day, Mina's on campus and gets in the office by pretending to be the niece of Professor Kilmartin.
And amazed they took for any kind of proof or anything.
No. It's like, oh, Rory, Rory, yeah, Uncle Rory. We find that a fund was started by some of the professor's old students to keep his office as it was, even though he hasn't been there in some time. The woman that lets her in says she'll wait outside to give her time alone in her uncle's office. She quickly finds all the information about the coup. She finds a research paper called The Halfling Dilemma. She reads through all the research of the Fae and listens to a tape where he plans to leave for the forest. As she packs away anything that would lead people to the coup, she finds a massive painting on the wall depicting man meeting Fae. She then finds some old pictures of the professor, and we don't get to see what she discovers in one of them. Concerned for what she finds, she takes a cab to Kira's house. It's nighttime when she gets there, and Kira lets her in. She tells her about what she found and what she took. Then she takes out the pictures of Kilmartin and his wife at a party, only to see the face of Madeline. Mina had checked with the front desk, and they confirmed that Rory Kilmartin's wife was named Madeline, though Kira finds that hard to believe that Madeline would have left out the information that she was the professor's wife. That's when Mina pulls up the news article on her phone about Madeline Kilmartin's death. Now they both wait for Madeline to show up, knowing that she has to show because she knows that they would have found out her secret when going to the professor's office. Mina tells Kira that they brought a monster out here and they have to send her back.
But in what way is she a monster? I mean, they were with her the entire time. What did she do?
I agree.
Like, yeah.
And how do they think they're going to send her back?
Yeah. How does any of this make sense?
Right. But to put a real wrench in the plan is the twist, because it isn't Madeline that shows up, but Kira driving a car. Mina turns to the woman that she's talking to, saying, "You're not Kira." The woman admits that she hasn't quite gotten it right, but she will in time. Mina asks if she is there to kill them, and she says she's there to become them.
She could have done that at any time.
Yeah, if she was going to kill them, she could have done it any time she wanted.
Doesn't make any sense.
Kira sees Mina and is confused as the creature is crawling behind her, but on the ceiling. Mina tells her to run, and it drops right behind her. It turns into John and then knocks her out with a picture frame to the face. Mina runs but is grabbed and tells her that they were once gods. It blames all the humans for its past suffering and throws Mina into a mirror. And we see in the broken glass that is now taken the form of Daniel.
Gosh, these lines the adversary here delivers at the end. To me, they're just unbearably corny. Like, just over the top corny.
Yeah, taking the form of Daniel, saying that Mina is the same as all the other humans, controlled by her hatred. Mina promises to never hurt her because Madeline protected them and helped them. It claims it did all that because they were its pets. Then it says it's thankful that Mina helped it escape. It drags Mina a little, then goes outside, takes the form of Madeline again, and says how its whole life it imagined it making it to the world beyond the woods. We find out that its birth name is Onroktone. That's the best I got. Which means the strange one, a.k.a. the Daywalker. And I hate to say this, Madeline, but that name is taken by Blade.
Yeah.
It takes the form of Kilmartin, saying that when he showed up, it thought things would be different, but then he tried to kill it, and it had no choice but to kill Kilmartin instead. Mina tries to run to call Kira, but when she gets to the other side of the house, she sees it has taken her own form now.
Hang on. You said when Kilmartin shows up, she thought it would be different?
Yeah, that he's a human that was going to study them.
But I thought the creature we're talking to now is the hybrid.
This creature is a hybrid, but it's not Kilmartin's child. It is the creature that Kilmartin met when going to the forest. The one that he said, this one seems different than the others. Maybe I could study this one. Oh. We don't know who her half parent was. We just know that she was born a halfling.
I misunderstood then. I thought that the professor had reproduced with the subject.
Okay, I get what you're saying. But no, he talks about how one appeared to him as a little redheaded girl, and he's like taken to studying it, and this one is different. So this Fae thought that this human was different and cared about them.
I see. Only
to turn out that he tried to kill it, and so now it had to kill him and doesn't trust any humans.
Okay.
So it tells Mina that she cannot win and she wants to end it as equals. She then grabs Mina, telling her that it plans to live out its life as Mina, and also mentions that Mina abandoned her sister and killed her own mother. Then Mina tells it that Kilmartin knew why it could walk in the daylight and why it could leave the forest when the others couldn't. It throws Mina to the floor, asking for her knowledge. Mina explains that a recording from the professor explains that humans and Fae used to live as one, and some fell in love and have children, and Kilmartin called them halflings. Mina explains that it must know what it is to be human because it is half human. Yes, it knows jealousy and hatred, but it also knows love and forgiveness. And as she's saying these different emotions, we're seeing them played out in her as she was Madeline throughout the movie. We see how she treated Daniel, but protected the others, and how she loved to watch them dance. Mina says that she knows what it feels like to be a monster because she feels that half of her is a monster, and we cut to the memory of the crash. This has an effect on it, and it has trouble holding the shape of Mina and transforms in turn into all the other members of the group. Mina tells her that the others are out there and she could find them. Neither of them would have to be alone anymore. That's when its wings come back and it flies to the roof. It looks back and says, "I hope you're right, Mina," before flying off.
That whole scene bugged me a lot. I mean, the whole thing where she says, "Oh, you can't run anymore," and that's what stops her from running. And like, why would that stop you from running? Why can she not run anymore? She totally can still run. Why couldn't she? And then, like, she's already said she's going to kill you, and you open the door because she wants to, quote, end this as equals?
Yeah, it didn't make sense either.
What in the world?
Mina goes to wake up Kira, who is confused because she heard John's voice. Mina tells her that she knows and comforts her. Sometime later, Mina is telling the story to Lucy, who's her twin sister, and Lucy's children are there with her. She tells Lucy that Madeline still hangs around and watches her, always taking different forms. We see that Lucy still bears the scars from the crash. Mina's nephews come in and give her a picture of her and Darwin, and in the picture, as in any young child's picture, it looks a little off, which I think is fitting because the Watchers' forms when they take them are a little off.
Yeah.
I think it fits well. Darwin flies to the window and the camera pans down to see Madeline looking like a little redheaded girl who is looking up at the window. The camera pans behind her and Madeline seems to break the fourth wall as she senses the camera there and turns to look right at it. And her skin slightly changes color like she's having trouble keeping the shape. And then we get the title card again and the screen goes black.
So, one little loose thread for me.
Sure.
Does this mean that Mina basically just stole the bird?
She did.
It wasn't hers.
It wasn't hers, but she also did go missing for a while. Maybe she paid the store owner for it back. Or it's like,
Maybe.
I didn't make the deadline. I got lost. I finally made it back out of the woods, and now I'm keeping the bird. How much do I owe you? Maybe. Some things that I think mirror the film or like the film does well is that in the beginning, Mina is dressing up and pretending to be other people because she doesn't like who she is, which I feel mirrors what the Watchers are doing as they're trying to mirror other people and, you know, trying to pretend to be others.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of neat. And then next we have the reality TV show that they're watching the Coop. They're sitting there watching people in a box TV living out their lives while the same thing is happening to them as they're being viewed in a much bigger box by the Watchers.
Yeah, they are a reality show.
Right, exactly. So in the special Creating the Watchers, they say they got 5 different people from different backgrounds, and they include contortionist, hip-hop, contemporary, and circus. And they never mentioned the 5th one. I was like, you only had one more to say, guys. Like, what was the last one?
Weird.
I did read the book. The only thing that stood out to me in the book, the difference is that in the book, they did spend a lot more time focusing on them gathering food to eat, which I thought the book wasn't any better.
Really?
But it leads to a sequel, and there is a sequel, which I have not read.
I wondered if the idea of these creatures that sort of badly mimic humans and have the wrong number of fingers and stuff. I had to wonder if that was inspired by like the recent AI, you know, the rise of AI art.
Oh, that's good. Maybe
because it's kind of got that same feel, right?
It does. Although I think it's getting better fast.
Oh, I know, but I mean, like especially like the fact that they specifically show the wrong number of fingers, like that's one of the things that AI gets so famously wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, maybe. It's interesting. That would be interesting social commentary on what's going on right now.
And just to expand that metaphor a little bit more than it should be expanded, I think that I kind of felt that way about the movie as a whole, that it was almost like a movie being created by someone who doesn't really quite know how to make a movie.
Right, which a lot of people do blame Ashana Night Shyamalan.
Yeah.
They said that it may be if she wasn't just the daughter of an already famous director,
Right.
who's established that he really knows what he's doing, maybe she wouldn't have got there so fast.
Yeah.
Although, he says that she was always on the set watching him direct and has been studying him direct for a long time and has just always wanted a chance to do it. He's got a lot of money. If he put up money to produce it, then they can afford to lose the money.
Yeah, I'm just saying it just, I don't think it was as good as she wanted it to be.
Yeah, that's true. I enjoyed it. I don't regret watching it. And I like the little subtle things that on rewatches I see, like the 300 plus hours on the written on the back of that love show.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's just little tiny things in the background that I think are funny. But because for me, that's a real place in hell. But yeah, it wasn't that great of a movie. I got invited to see it in an early release, which was really fun. But yeah, it's unfortunate that it wasn't so well. I hope she does something else, and I hope she does a lot better.
Is this her first thing ever that she ever
Yeah,
made?
well, it's her first directorial movie. Her sister got to be a big part of M. Night Shyamalan's other movie last year called Trap. She was the pop singer that the whole movie is based around, setting a trap for a serial killer. And her sister gets to play the pop singer, which is, a big icon in the movie, and it's kind of fun. He really found a way to use his whole family this last year in movies, which is fun.
That is nice. I guess if it's her first movie ever, I can't complain. I mean, it's,
Sure. It was shot beautifully, though.
it was.
Yeah,
I agree.
I like that part of it. All right, thank you for talking with me about the movie today.
My pleasure.
This has been Nightmare Echoes. We have episodes every Monday. Please leave us a 5-star review if you can, and hope you listen to us next week.
Try not to die.
Bye.